All right, there we go. Testing. 1, 2, 3. All right, thank you. Thank you for reading. I know that was uncomfortable, but you did a great job. How many of you, this is the first time you've read this story? First time. Okay, this is a great story. And what I love about this story is that it really sets apart what leadership can and should look like. When I was about junior high, maybe even a little younger, my father asked me what I wanted to do with my life. And I said, well, I'm not sure. I either want to preach the gospel or I want to bomb Moscow. So I was dead serious. I had to struggle through whether I was going to be in ministry or the military. And if I was going to be in the military, I wanted to be a warrior. And if I went into the military, I told my dad, I don't think I'm coming home. So from a very young age, I have appreciated military leadership and now ministry leadership. And I appreciate leadership in a lot of different realms. And this passage just screams leadership. And I want you to notice, I think I've identified 4 levels of leadership. Now, when I say that, my tongue is firmly in my cheek. Because 3 out of the 4 are really anti-leadership. They're not leadership. But there's 4 levels of leadership. There's like one party in these 2 chapters that really speak of what I call level 1 leadership. Then level 2 leadership is not really leadership, but level 2 leadership is not as pathetic as level 3 leadership, which is not as pathetic as level 4 leadership. So I actually see 4 levels of leadership. So you can write notes and just write these down, and let's consider together 4 levels of leadership. And just a couple of statements about leadership in general. What is the essence of biblical leadership? The essence, and I've read scads of leadership books. I've even written one. Dietz has written one. So we have written about leadership because we deal with it quite a bit. But Christian leadership, the essence of Christian leadership is this. It's very closely related to discipleship. Leadership and discipleship for the Christian is aligned. Essentially, leadership for the Christian, and this is very close to discipleship, it's me walking with Jesus, and then I'm walking with Jesus with one hand. You remember the 2 disciples that went to the road with Jesus to Emmaus? So imagine that's us. We're walking with Jesus on the road to Emmaus with one hand, and with our other hand, we're taking people with us. Are you envisioning that? That's leadership. Leadership is, following God, walking with Jesus in a certain direction, and then taking somebody else with us, and maybe taking several people with us. And so really, God has, and this is another thought you can write down, God has called all of us to leadership. Now, you may not have a title. You don't need a title. God may not have called you to a specific office, but God has called all of us to this idea of leadership. God wants us all to be leaders. I can't tell you how many times, I could never be a leader. No, you're here. You're God's child, and you're not supposed to live in a vacuum. You're supposed to live with other people. Ergo, God wants you to lead others. Because the reality is, you have strengths. If you love God, as God is working in your life, you have strengths I don't have. Every one of you can lead me in certain areas. I can lead you in certain areas, and ultimately, we're being led by the Spirit of God as we walk with Christ. So this morning, I want us to look at these 4 levels of leadership. I've got a quote here. This is fantastic. This is Thoughts on Leadership from Dwight Eisenhower. Eisenhower said this, and you don't have to write this down, you can Google it and the quote will come up. In order to be a leader, a man must have followers. And to have followers, a man or a woman, must have their confidence. Hence, the supreme quality of a leader is unquestionably integrity. Without it, no real success is possible, no matter whether it is on a section gang, on a football field, in the army, or in an office. If a man's associates find him guilty of phoniness, If they find that he lacks forthright integrity, he will fail. His teachings and actions must square with each other. The first great need, therefore, in leadership is integrity and high purpose. And again, that's from Dwight Eisenhower. Okay, so the passage that we just read, the story that we read, let me give you the 4 levels, and we're going to go back. And sometimes I ask, but we don't have time. We're not going to go fishing. I'm just going to give them to you, write them down. Level 1 leadership, that's Jonathan and his armor bearer. That's level 1 leadership. By the way, does Jonathan have the title king? Yes or no? No, he doesn't have that office, and yet he demonstrates level 1 leadership without the title. And so level 1 leadership, that's Jonathan. And level 2 leadership, and again, my tongue is in my cheek when I say that, but level 2 leadership is Saul. So you got Saul, he's under the palm tree in the pomegranates. He's got 600 men right around him. He's got the high priest with him. And you're going to see in a little while, in his mind, he's got God in a box. You've heard of Jack in the Box? Paul believed in God in the box. So you had the ark, and so God is with us. Eventually, when Saul goes to battle, well, bring the box. We want to make sure God is with us. Pathetic. He had level 2 leaders don't have a right view of God. So level 2 leaders, you got Saul. Level 3 leadership. Okay, level 3 leadership. Everybody look at 1 Samuel 14:22. I know that we read it, but somebody read it again. It may be somebody that did not read it.
What was it?
1 Samuel 14:22.
Likewise, when all the men of Israel who had hidden themselves in the hill country of Ephraim heard that the Philistines were fleeing, they too followed hard after them.
Okay, this is the group. This is Ephraim cave hiders. When I was in the 1980s, they had a cartoon. I loved it. Captain Caveman. I don't know if anybody remember Captain Caveman. That was a great cartoon. And any rate, so yeah, this is Ephraim cave hiders. So the Ephraim, by the way, if you go back, so 1 Samuel 14:22, but if you go back to 1 Samuel 13, when Israel heard it, when Israel came, verse 6, when the men of Israel saw that they were in trouble, for the people had hard pressed. Notice, the people hid themselves in caves, in holes, in rocks, in tombs, in cisterns. What's that? Okay, well, they went to Ephraim. They found caves, but let me tell you what else they did. Uncle Bob, who died 3 months ago, and he's now Bob looks rough if you take the lid off. So Uncle Bob, you go find the cave. You actually go find you find the stone casket that we buried Uncle Bob in. You take the lid off, and you jump in the casket with Uncle Bob, and you put the lid back on. That's the Hebrew behind this is they were hiding in caves and in tombs. They were so afraid they climbed in with Uncle Bob, who died 3 months ago. So that's pretty rough, right? So level 3, Ephraim cave hiders. So the third level of leadership, which again, level 2 and level 3, this is anti-leadership. And you say, it can't get any worse than that. Contraire, it can get worse. Somebody read chapter 14, verse 21, just the verse before verse 22, whoever has it.
Now the Hebrews who were with the Philistines previously, who went up with them all around in the camp, even they also turned to be with the Israelites who were with Saul and Jonathan.
Okay. You say, well, how does it get worse than that? Well, apparently, if you go back to 1 Samuel 13, Captain Caveman, and then those that were hiding with Uncle Bob, there was another group. Look at 1 Samuel 13, verse 7. Some Hebrews crossed the fords of the Jordan to the land of Gad and Gilead. What does that mean? Okay, so what that means is there was the fourth category were people that let's use our own history of the Battle of Gettysburg from the Civil War. So this is like the guy wearing a blue jacket that gets nervous, because it looks bad. And so he takes his blue jacket on and he puts a gray jacket on and he goes to the other side. And then when we start winning, when the Union starts winning, he takes the gray jacket off and then he puts the blue back and he goes back the other way. Okay, these are traitors. But when it's really bad, they got a gray jacket on and blue pants on, which is stupid because now you get shot at from everybody, right? So the fourth level of leadership, let me give you the four categories. Level 1, Jonathan is a level 1 leader. Level 2, Saul. Level 3, the Ephraim cave hiders. And then level 4, traitors and turncoats. Traitors and turncoats. Okay, let's go from 1 to 4. What do you notice about Jonathan, level 1 leaders in this story that our friends just read? What do you notice about Jonathan and his armor bearer? What do you see here that kind of lends itself to this idea that, wow, these are characteristics of level 1 leadership? What do you notice?
None of the rest of those levels existed in him. He had courage, he was leading with courage, and he didn't have the Ark of the Covenant with him.
Look at that.
He still had faith in God.
He knew that God was not in a what? God's not in a box. But Saul is quite sure, well, bring God. We'll need him. Okay, so level 1, that was good. What else can we say about level 1 leadership as typified by Jonathan and his armor bearer? Initiative, okay, good. Level 1 leadership doesn't wait when it sees initiative, it takes initiative. By the way, this applies to, these 2 chapters apply, I don't care what you're going to do, this applies to just life, right? It applies to church, it applies to work, military, business. I mean, these 2 chapters are just, this is one of my favorite passages in the Old Testament. You were going to share something, go ahead. Yeah, so, yeah, I'm really impressed by the armor bearer, right? Can you imagine going to battle and you're actually not carrying your own sword? You're carrying somebody else's sword? And it's just the two, you and your boss, and you're coming up on in the first group, there's 20 of them, right? Within a half acre. I mean, who does that, right? Okay, what else? What else can you see about level 1 leadership? Level 1 leadership.
They didn't just run in and start fighting. Like, they had a plan. They wanted to wait and see what was going to happen.
Okay.
See if that would work, and then they confidently,
That's good. So level 1 leadership doesn't rush. Level 1 leadership, in one sense, is looking to God and seeing what God is going to do, and then acts as God acts. Instead of kicking the door down before God does anything, we're waiting to see what God's going to do because he's not in a box. So we know that God is out of the box. And so, good. Okay, good. Let me just say this about one level. Write this down and we'll move for sake of time because I want to end 3 minutes early so I can brag. Okay, so level 1 leader, I want to be a level 1 leader. So level 1 leader, they end on time. But level 1 leaders, they lead with or without a title. Level 1 leaders lead with or without a title. You don't need a title. Title doesn't mean anything. Level 1 leaders lead with or without a title. By the way, level 1 leaders face the most opposition. Why is it that level 1 leaders in life face most opposition? Because nobody else is swimming against the stream of the fish. Everybody else is hopping right in line with the stream of the fish. When you swim against the flow of the fish, guess what you're going to face? Opposition, right? So level 1 leaders are willing to do that, right? So level 1 leaders lead with or without the title. Anything else on Jonathan and the armor bearer that you see before we move on to level 2, the second group? Okay, level 2 leadership. Saul. Notice, okay, we're going to notice something right away. By the way, 1 Samuel 13:1 is confusing. So that's a Hebrew discussion for another time. It is one of the most difficult passages in the Hebrew Old Testament. That's why the Septuagint just skipped over verse 1 entirely, which I understand. So Saul lived 1 year. Yeah. Look at verse 2. Saul chose 3,000 men of Israel. 2,000 were with Saul at Michmash, the hill country of Bethel. 1,000 were with Jonathan in Gilgal. And then notice, after Jonathan defeats the garrison, verse 4, what did Israel, Saul blew the trumpets and gave and here's an update on the war. And what does Saul communicate to the nation? All Israel heard it, and Saul who had defeated the garrison? What is the news flash? Did Saul really defeat the garrison? Did he himself do that? No, who did that? Jonathan. Level 1 leaders give credit to who credit is due. Level 2 leaders take credit that's not even due them, right? Now, okay, the military, well, Saul was the king, he was commanding officer, therefore he gets credit. Yeah, but the best kind of commanding officers give credit to the people that were actually doing it, right? And so there's another difference between level 2 leadership and level 1 leadership. Level 2 leadership and level 3, level 4. People in leadership that are not a level 1 leader, they will take credit for stuff that's not legitimate for them to take credit. Level 1 leaders are quick to give honor and credit to the people that is due them. And so that's a characteristic of level 2 leaders. Notice level 2 leaders often lead from the place of comfort. You'll notice he's got in safety. He's got 600 guys around him. He's on top of a mountain. One of the translations says under a shade tree. This one says in a cave with pomegranates. That's like the Old Testament version of having air conditioning. So he's in a shack. It's armored. He's got air conditioning. And on top of that, he's got God in a box right next to him. And so level 2 leadership, they only lead, listen, level 2 leaders, often they lead from a distance and comfort and safety. They don't get their hands dirty, right? And so that's a level 2. What else do you notice about Saul? What else would you add to some of these observations about level 2 leadership? Anything else you see here? Anything else on Saul?
Well, he jumped the gun when Samuel didn't show up. He was like, well, then I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll do that. So he jumped the gun. And he knew not to do that.
Right.
He did it anyways, and it actually shows later in life he does, the witch of Endor or whatever,
Yeah.
He knows what God wants.
Oh, yeah.
But he does what Saul wants.
Oh, yeah. By the way, I love that episode. She's talking about... So imagine, Samuel is with the Lord now. He's in paradise. And, I don't know, he's eating a grape. And all of a sudden, the witch of Endor, Saul, shows up in a vision while Samuel is in paradise. And Samuel says, what are you doing here? And Samuel says, you were a pain in my neck when I was alive. Now that I'm dead, you're still a pain in my neck. Oh, by the way, you're going to be joining me here soon in the realm of the dead. Anyway, so I love that. So that's a great point, is that Saul, level 2 leaders, act when they should not, and they don't act when they should. So level 2 leaders, they act when they should not. He should not have taken on the role of a prophet. Why? Because he's not a prophet. He's not a priest. He's a king. Samuel's job is to do the sacrifice. Your job is to lead based on what God tells you through the prophet. And so that's great. Any other observations on Saul? A rubber fish, by the way. Good job. I would take the chalk and the chalkboard. Later, I'll draw you a rubber fish. That is the biggest commendation I give in class. So when a student has a really good answer, I give a rubber fish. Although I have given a rubber whale. And so that's... Anyway. Okay, so number 3. Let's move on to number 3. Somebody read 1 Samuel 14:22. I know. Oh, actually, you've already read it. So notice we just read Ephesians 1 Samuel 14:22. So level 3, this is the Ephraim cave hiders, or as I like to call it, Captain Caveman. This is the Captain Caveman, number 3. Level 3 leaders lead from a place of complete hiding. Oh, let me just say one more thing about level 2. Saul does make it to battle. Saul goes to battle, but after the level 1 leaders have taken the point and the enemy is on the run, that's when level 2 leaders will join the battle, when it's safe. Level 2, level 3, and level 4 leaders never join the battle until it's safe. Level 1 leaders are willing to go to battle when it's not safe. And so level 3 leaders, Captain Caveman, level 3 leaders lead from a place of complete hiding, which makes it goofy to call them leaders, because they're not leaders, because they're hiding. Leaders don't hide. Now, leaders might wait. There's nothing wrong with waiting for the right moment. That's not hiding. But level 3 leaders hide. Gideon was hiding in a wine press when the angels told him. And I love that episode. I've often said Gideon was completely shocked when the angel of the Lord called Gideon mighty warrior. But who was really shocked were all the other angels. The other angels said, "What? You just called Gideon mighty warrior? Why do you call him mighty? He's hiding." Well, so Gideon went from a level 3. Here's the good news. If you're a level 4 or a level 3 leader, you don't have to stay there. You can be promoted. God can actually promote you. And here's the other thing I'm going to say about some of the take home is that I really believe that all of us, at one point in time, all of us can go from a level 1 to a level 2 to level 3, level 4, back to level 1. All of us are going to be at all of those levels at one point in time or another in our life. So level 3 leadership, Ephraim cave hiders, so that we can finish on time and I can brag about that. Level 4, traders and turncoats, the guy hiding, worse than hiding with Uncle Bob is those that actually, you left our side and you became a traitor. You began to look like the enemy. So level 4 leaders run from the battle and try to look like the enemy. And then when it's entirely safe, they leave the enemy to come back to fight with the hometown. Okay. So, this is traitorous. In the church of Jesus Christ, all 4 of these exist. Let's go from the worst to the best. Level 4 leaders, these are believers who they leave the home team and Monday through Saturday they join the enemy. Instead of being faithful on Team God, on Monday through Saturday, they're not willing to pay that price. And so on Sunday, they look like they're Jesus' people. On Monday through Saturday, they're Satan's people because they're not willing to take the stand. And so, hey gang, everybody look here. All of us do this from time to time. Did you hear what I said? All of us are tempted to do this. I can't live in your head. You have to live in your head. You live with God. So it's up to you to squash your own hypocrisy. I don't know where you're hypocritical, but what I know is every one of us are hypocritical. All of us, from time to time, are this level 4, where we've got that hypocrisy. We have to kill that stuff with God's help. So I think all of us need to say, Lord, where do I have hypocrisy? Where do I say that I'm on Team Jesus, but I act like I'm not on Team Jesus? And so that's level 4. Level 3, Ephraim cave hiders. These are those that are, you're not trying to blend in with the world. You're just trying to hide. You just leave me alone. Just let me not. Can I just not do this right now? Can I just be left alone? And so that's it. And so there's nothing. By the way, the answer to level 3 is not stepping away from the spiritual battle. The answer to number 3 might be that you need a Sabbath. Maybe you need to take a little rest, have a little quiet time with God, take a nap, go on a little trip, spend some time in a devotional, get alone with God. Your spiritual batteries need to be recharged. And so a lot of times, level 3 leaders, they could be level 1. They're just exhausted. And you just need to rest with the Lord. And so that's level 3, Ephraim cave hiders. Level 2, Saul. So level 2 leaders need to recognize, Saul was riddled with jealousy, right? So a lot of times level 2 leaders, they're trying to hold on to power that's not theirs. They're trying to shove other people away. They're the center of their own limelight. There's a lot of stuff going on with number 2. And then number 1, I think we all should aspire to be Jonathan and armor bearer. Any other observations about 1, 2, 3, or 4? 4 levels of leadership. What do you got? I talk too much. I like to hear other people. What do you got? Dietz, you got anything on level 1, 2, 3, or 4?
Sure.
Hey, don't be a level 3. Come on, man.
Yeah, I think it's the integrity of a leader that enables him to serve like the first level, with or without the title.
Yep.
That it's also the 4th level that keeps him from hopping sides when it's convenient for him to hop sides.
Yep.
And I like your quote on Eisenhower. Be a leader, you got to have followers, but it's also tied to your integrity.
Yeah.
And I think that's crucial through all of these 4 different leaders.
Yep. Anyone else? Any other observations? 1, 2, 3, or 4?
I think the humility and pride go hand in hand with this
Oh, yeah.
whole 1, 2, 3, 4 as well.
Oh, yeah. Great humility with Jonathan and the armor bearer. Great humility.
I would think in our culture, and I'm probably sure a lot of cultures, it's easy to think of what level 1 or whatever looks like as bigger, louder, but really there could be good leadership in quiet people.
Absolutely.
And doing that. It doesn't have to be the loudest one in the room. It doesn't
Oh,
have
yeah.
to be, not that Jonathan's like that. But
Yep.
they're not always the big movers and shakers, and they can be, but it's not
Yep.
always.
I love the fact that that's good, Jenny. I love the fact that the armor bearer makes it into our taxonomy here as a level 1 leader. The armor bearer. He was probably quiet, unassuming. He probably was a private in the army. He's an armor bearer. He's not high ranking, and yet clearly a level 1 leader. Yeah. By the way, level 1 leaders know how to follow other level 1 leaders. They're attracted to each other. That's why David and Jonathan loved each other. So there's a real attraction when level 1 leaders, when you're a level 1 leader, there's blood on your tunic. Means that you've suffered enough to be a level 1 leader. And you're attracted to other people that have blood on their tunic. And because both of you have suffered. And level 1 leaders, God, he pounds the snot out of you. And he doesn't allow you to be proud and haughty. And so you can smell it on each other. So level 1 leaders are attracted to each other. Anyway, I love this passage. I think there's a lot of application for our spiritual lives, I think, in a lot of other things. Any other final observations before we're done?
I think a good way to have to say as far as like you're not always level 1.
No.
You're not always level 2. You see that example in David where the whole David Bathsheba thing. He's clearly not living level 1.
No.
This is the time for kings to go out in battle.
Yeah.
Not out in battle, but I think that's just kind of in line with our stats.
Oh, yeah.